You're with Baz and you are listening to Blues on the Hill, and I'm at Way Out West Roots Club, and I'm with Fiona Boys and Watermelon Slim, who are touring Australia together for the very first time. And Slim, welcome to Blues on the Hill.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Now, you started the tour at the Great Southern Blues Festival in Narooma.
We did.
How was that, and how's the tour been going?
Well, this was my second time at Narooma. I came here in 2007. The little background, I recorded on one of Fiona's albums in 2009 or 10.
Yeah, that's right, Blues Woman. Yeah.
And on Blues Woman, and we've been banging around the idea to tour ever since that. It's going fantastic. We're getting closer and closer together musically every gig that we do.
Well, speaking of, go on. You're right.
I was going to say it's been a fantastic thing because when I was recording the Blues Woman album, I had one song in particular that I wanted to have a character of a crazy preacher, and I thought, who better than Slim?
Who better? I'm a lay preacher.
To expostulate.
I'm not ordained, but I'll cop to being something of a preacher. I have officiated funerals. I will not marry them, but I'll bury them.
Very blues. So it was a wonderful experience doing that, and he was right onto it. And last year, as it turned out, I had 3 trips to Clarksdale, Mississippi, where Slim's living. So we'd had a chance to catch up a bit, and so it's been great to start at Narooma and to be doing these 2 dates together.
So blues brought you together. When and how did that happen? When did you first meet? When did this pairing come together?
Oh, I suppose the first time we ever met was probably when I came in and recorded with you, was it not?
Well, no, I'm thinking back because we certainly had seen each other at the Blues Music Awards in various places.
We've seen each other, but we never really got together.
We never played together, but we knew each other, and we would have hung out. And certainly because I lived for 2 years full-time in America, and 1 year I was based in Portland, Oregon, and you played the Waterfront Blues Festival in Portland, Oregon, and places like that. So we had friends in common, and we would have seen each other in Memphis at the Blues Music Awards every year, which is the American Blues Foundation's peak awards. Everyone gets dressed up.
We both have won such things, and Fiona is the only Australian and practically the only foreigner that has ever, I say foreigner, sitting here in Australia, not American, who ever won a Blues Music Award. Not even, no Canadian has ever won it, although there have been many that have deserved to do so.
It's a wonderful achievement. So whose idea was it to do this tour, and how long's it been in the planning?
Oh, look, it's sort of been rolling. I think probably Slim's the same as me. I have lots of little ideas on the back burner that I wait to see when there's a good time to bring those ideas to fruition, or when we can manage it. And of course, this particular tour was put together by Steve, the preacher Clark, who's my husband and a long-time manager.
That's the Reverend
Steve Clark, who is. That's another whole interview topic. But, Steve, when I lived in America, was my manager. He also booked for a major blues talent agency in in Charlotte, North Carolina, some years ago. So he has that expertise, and I think that'd be a good idea, but Steve actually made it happen.
Steve made it happen, yes.
That's what we needed. We needed someone to make it happen.
Absolutely. So. Steve Clark made what we're doing today happen.
Yeah. That's great. So Fiona, you're a self-taught guitarist who, after a successful career with your band The Mojos, you decided to go solo. Yeah. 2003 was a very significant year for you. Tell us what happened and how it's changed your life.
Well, it has changed my life. What ended up happening was that I played for many, many years with my first band, the Mojos. We were together for so long, it was really quite miraculous because for most of us it was our first band. And knowing what I know now about putting a band together, that's the longevity of that band was amazing. But it was a very good place to learn our craft. And in the end, though, finally different band members had other interests and everyone was sort of wandering off. So I sort of started playing solo, as you would understand. So I sort of, out of necessity, it was a good time to go solo. Although I'd always played solo acoustic country blues and ragtime fingerpicking. So I made my first solo acoustic album, Blues in My Heart, and was working towards another album. Had the opportunity to, I was a foundation member of the Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society. I was on the founding committee of the Blues Society, and I'd been looking at the playoffs. There's a playoff every year to select the Blues Performer of the Year, who becomes then the representative that goes to Memphis in America and competes in the American Blues Foundation's International Blues Challenge.
Which is about February, early February.
Yes, it's always about that time of year. Yep. So I'd been looking at that, and frankly, because I'd been a female guitarist, when I was learning to play, there was no role models for me amongst other women playing in Melbourne, and I felt there's so few women players. So one of my strategies had just not compete with anything. So it was a big thing for me to even go into the playoffs for the Performer of the Year, but I did that, and I ended up winning the local playoffs. Again, I'd always wanted to go to the home of the blues, to Memphis and to those kind of places. I was a musician, I was too broke. But winning the playoffs meant that the Blues Society bought me a ticket to Memphis, and I went to perform and compete in the International Blues Challenge. So some of the first times I played on American soil, just going, wow, I'm here on Beale Street, in this very historic place for the blues where all my heroes would have played. And I'm in a bar playing my little old stuff, playing most of the original acoustic solo stuff and wondering what the Americans would make of that. Well, I ended up winning the competition and becoming the first non-American and first woman to win.
First non-American and the first woman.
And so it's been amazing for me because that gave me an opportunity then to go back and have my name somewhat known and meet players in different parts of the country.
They give you some good gigs for winning that competition and some recording money and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
To perks.
Just sort of get you.
Yeah.
See, the sad thing was, Slim, I didn't get to get all my perks because I was in Australia, so they were confused. So some of them, you couldn't be there all the time. Anyway, that's another story.
Right.
But it was. But I did get to meet people.
The gigs that they got that they give you, and they tell you you're going to get them if you win before you ever get them.
Yeah.
They're very
and they're very good.
Important gigs.
Well, see, I got to play after the International Blues Challenge. I came back to Australia with my head spinning and put together an album and went back to try and do the first gig that was offered to me was playing at the W.C. Handy Awards at the Orpheum Theatre, and also playing for the Blues Hall of Fame induction dinner at the Gibson Lounge. So I mean, the chance to play those places, playing at the Blues Music Awards, it's like the who's who of blues people there, and if I was a blues fan for a long time before I was a musician, so. You get to see everybody.
I myself went from being a $10 an hour local truck driver to getting a Blues Music Award nomination, what they called the W.C. Handys back then. I was actually nominated the last year that they called the awards the W.C. Handy Awards. And it was a matter of no more than. Well, I quit driving truck in August of 2004, And by November, December 2004, I had a blues music nomination. It was a gamble to even leave truck driving. But,
yeah, it's another Cinderella tale.
Yeah, it happened.
Well,
And of redemption, I was, you know, I was nobody. I was 55 and a half years old before I was ever able to actually leave my straight job, crap though it was, and begin being a musician finally as a full-time occupation. I tried a few times, but lacking support, everything happened up to and including being bounced off railroad tracks, breaking my ribs by a major English heroin dealer and whatnot. I never came back to Europe for 16 years after that happened. So I had no support. Now I have support, and furthermore I have friends that outside the business world support me, and that's a blessing.
So while 2003 was significant for Fiona, 1954 was very significant in yours because it was the first time you heard the blues, but it was from an unlikely source, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Well, it was more likely than you'd say, but I heard the blues in my own house being sung by a black woman who was taking care of my little brother and me and cooking and cleaning and whatnot for my parents, who, you know, I was a white kid in North Carolina, a middle class white kid in North Carolina, and I was able to hear this music, but I didn't know what the blues was at that point. I didn't know for another 7, 8, 9 years before I actually knew it was the blues. So
she was what, like a nanny?
She was today you would call her a nanny. Back then, in the days of segregation, of American apartheid, you would call her a maid.
Yeah, so it's been amazing. I remember.
And I was raised by maids, at least as much as by my parents up until the time I was 16. It's why, you know, I don't mind saying I'm a little bit more black than most white Americans are.
And she was singing John Lee Hooker.
She was singing John Lee Hooker, one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, and Boogie Chillin' and other songs.
That'll beat nursery rhymes every time.
Improvising on them, and Beulah Huggins was thereby one of the most important musical influences I had in my life. That was her name. You know I've been crazy. I've been a fool. Crazy most of my life. I have been in love with some other man's wife. Yeah, some other man's wife. More than some other man's wife.
know she's long and she's tall. Shakes like a willow tree. Some people say she's no good, but I know she's alright. Yeah, you know the girl's alright.